Welcome into the Fantasy Football Fools podcast. I'm Jesse. This is Eliseo and Brandon. What's up, guys?
I'm back, baby. I know you guys missed me.
Hey, you know, your buddy Skeletor, he did a great job.
Yeah, he was outstanding. I think we got the most views we've ever had, so I don't know what that says. But
Yeah, check us out anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you want to watch us, go to YouTube, the Fantasy Football Fools on YouTube.
It's thrilling. The video is just amazing.
Yes, it's us sitting here talking. Everybody needs to watch it. It's so great. Oh, yeah, let's get into some news and injuries.
Oh, son of a... That's going to leave a mark.
Tua. Oh, my goodness. If you guys don't know by now.
I know, we're really late to the party here, but he basically shouldn't have been playing. It was dumb that he even went back into the game where he got hurt, and then he plays again this week, and then he just looked terrible when he fell in the hands, and it was just awful. It's like, I know it's Halloween, but that's something you don't want to see.
So, yeah, for those, if there's anybody out there who doesn't know, last week Tua had a hard hit. His head hit the grass, and he got up and was wobbly and could hardly stand. He went to the locker room, came back in and played the second half. They said it was a back or neck injury, and he was okay. He was not concussed. So this week he took a hard hit, and it did not look good. He could. You have
his
to go
body
and
just
watch
clenched
it, but,
up. His whole body just kind of clenched up. Like his brain didn't know what to do.
yeah,
Exactly.
So in full disclosure, we just got done watching the Thursday night game, Broncos-Colts, if you can even call it a game. So I'm going to be fired up today because that game was atrocious. So speaking of Tua, here's the thing. We just watched a terrible game this past Thursday night, but we all watched it, right? We're all watching it. Every week we watch football. We're never going to stop. Even when things like this happen, we still watch, right? And that's the only way some of these things change is if we stop watching, and no one's going to ever stop watching football. There's too much money to be made. There's too much advertisements, all these things. And so that's why these players keep going back in the game. They're getting pushed to play. Like it's this crazy cycle, and we're all involved in it. We're all a part of it. And it's never going to stop because there's just way too much money involved in all of these games.
And that sucks.
Yeah, and so
but on the other side, like what sucks about it even more is that even if he didn't play, people were still going to watch the game. Even if he was like, oh, he got hurt last week, so he's out. People are not going to stop watching because somebody's hurt. So it's like that. It's even worse.
Yeah, I think the idea is like the stars kind of sell the games, right? And again, Tua's not necessarily a star, but quarterbacks are usually kind of the guys that get the most spotlight and get the most run, and the NFL wants these guys to play. And so I think, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's unfortunate that it's come to this, but at least there's being some light shed upon it. And we've already seen the kind of instant results of guys, being knocked out of games and not coming back in and not being forced back in. So there's going to be a lot of changes coming with the protocol. And certainly we want everybody to be healthy. We want everybody to play if they can. But this is just kind of a very enlightening moment for everybody who watches football.
And, of course, that affects fantasy, but who cares? Because
fantasy is
safety.
A fantasy game.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that independent doctor that got fired, he should have got fired because he was an independent doctor, not associated with the team, right? All right, moving on. Javonte Williams, torn ACL, season ending.
Every year there's at least one, and sadly it was him this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is the biggest injury I think we've had this season. Was a second, third round pick in most leagues. We had talked last week about kind of the running backs and splitting carries, and he and Melvin Gordon were obviously splitting the carries in Denver. But Williams was really starting to kind of take the majority of those carries. He was getting more and more work, and he's clearly the most talented back on that team. So a big loss for Denver. They've been a team that struggled on offense all season. So that's a big one that hurts. He's kind of a young, up-and-coming star, and you hate to kind of take away a season at 22, 23 years old.
If you got Melvin Gordon, you are maybe jumping for joy, but that's going to be a tough backfield to figure out in the coming weeks.
And you wouldn't think so. Right? You're like, oh, the main...
It's Melvin.
Yeah. It's like there's two guys splitting the load, and then now it's like, oh, down to one guy. Obviously, it should be this guy.
Let's pick up Latavius Murray.
However, However, that is not the case.
Cordero Patterson, knee procedure. He's on the IR, out at least 4 weeks.
Yeah, he was having a pretty good start to the year too. Whatever they've been doing in Atlanta carried over from last season. He had a good start, so definitely hurts to see him banged up. Again, it's not a great offense in Atlanta, but again, he had definitely produced for the first few weeks, and so definitely a change in that backfield coming as we move forward.
And we'll talk about the pickups a little bit later, but a couple guys you may look at in that backfield if you want to. Jonathan Taylor, ankle tests are negative. Again, we just watched the game. He did not play. The game was atrocious.
Yeah, he didn't play. I think it's just, Thursday game off of a Sunday injury, so now it gives him the extra time to rest. I'm assuming he'll be back next Sunday. And just to add to this, it's not on our list, but Naheem Hines, who came in for Jonathan Taylor, then he got knocked out with a concussion. So Indy's down to their third string running back. But again, I anticipate Taylor being back a week from Sunday.
Yeah, it does not seem like a big deal as of now. Daniel Jones, ankle, day-to-day.
I think he'll play. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really been following the Giants super closely because it's the Giants. And
yeah, he traveled today. They're in London this week, so he traveled with the team today. So I would anticipate him playing. But they were another team last week, so he got hurt. Then Tyrod Taylor.
Yes,
came
that's what I was
in,
going to say. And
he got hurt, and so then they were running Wildcat with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
so.
it was like he got hurt and then he got taken out, and they were like, "Okay, well you're out," and he's like, "Okay, well, fine, but like if I need to come back, can I? Can I be available?"
You could be the emergency quarterback.
And then sure enough, there he goes back in, and I guess he was all right. And yeah, Barkley's the main attraction back again in New York, so.
Yeah, and I think, going back to the Tua thing, I think if it's an ankle injury and it's not super serious, then yeah, you can go in and play. If it's a concussion, that's a little bit bigger of a deal.
And Jones did have 2 rushing touchdowns last week, too, before that ankle injury. So he was actually pretty successful on the ground prior to that injury.
Tyrod Taylor, you talked about a concussion. Let's move on to Treylon Burks, turf toe.
Those are hard, man. Those are rough because I remember A.J. Green had those a lot. I'm sure he still deals with it, but back when he was like in his glory days in Cincy, he dealt with that a lot, and he missed a lot of games, and just kind of here and there, and it was always a turf toe thing. It's like one of those things that's just always around. It just never really goes away, I guess. I don't know.
Like super painful and uncomfortable, and
it's
like
just like
on your toe. You're
it's like you can't run. Yeah, so that's lingering is what I was.
And Treylon Burks, he's a rookie prospect that was moving up, so that's gonna kind of put him back a little bit. Jameson Crowder, Buffalo, broken ankle.
Yeah, so he's out for the year, and he was kind of splitting duties in the slot with Isaiah McKenzie, who was out with a concussion also. So I think you're going to see McKenzie take on more of that third wide receiver role behind Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis. Obviously a pass-heavy offense in Buffalo. So again, assuming Isaiah McKenzie clears concussion protocol and he plays, I think he's now solidly locked in as that number 3 wide receiver in Buffalo.
Jahan Dotson, hamstring, maybe out a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think he's been ruled out this Sunday already, and they've been kind of interesting offense. Again, we've talked about Carson Wentz a lot of times on this podcast, probably more than he deserves. He was, good the first couple of weeks. He's been bad the last couple of weeks, but they've been spreading the ball around with Terry McLaurin, with Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, the rookie there. They've all been getting work, so maybe you see an increased workload for Terry McLaurin or Curtis Samuel this Sunday with Jahan Dotson out.
All these rookies. Brian Hoyer, concussion. Bailey Zappi took over.
Zap. I think it's Zap.
Well, he was zapping some stuff down the field, right? He did all right.
He took Aaron Rodgers to overtime. So
yeah, and he's like off the street kind of guy.
Yeah,
he was like nobody knows him, and he went to a small school too, right? Like he didn't go to like a major football college or anything.
Yeah, so Mac Jones was obviously out of the game, so Brian Hoyer started, and then he got concussed very, very early. Yeah, Bailey Zappi came in, and Zap. Now you got me confused. I think it is Zappi.
I think they called him Zappi.
San Diego Chargers.
They called him Zappi, so we'll go with that.
But yeah, then he came in, and again, he didn't do a ton offensively. I think he threw for about 100 yards and a touchdown, but again, they were heavy underdogs to Green Bay. He kept them in the game, and they lost by 3 in overtime.
And we talked about Isaiah McKenzie concussion. I think he'll play this week. He just practiced today, I believe, Thursday. So, biggest pickups of the week. Let's go for quarterback. Who are you picking up? Jared Goff. He plays for Detroit, not Atlanta. I don't know who wrote this.
Yeah, there's a few typos on this, and we got to get our secretary to not make any errors here. Yeah, Goff's been really good this year, actually. So He's thrown 4 touchdowns, I think, in 2 of his 4 games this year. Detroit's obviously, I think they've scored the most points in the league. I think I saw some crazy.
They're averaging like 35 points a game.
Yeah, and they're also like giving up 35 points a game. I think that their games have had 270 points in the 4 games. That's the highest all time in the first 4 games.
Also,
of the
like,
season.
what was the stat about Goff himself? Is like he's thrown, I don't know if it was 300 or 400 yards in like a couple of games already. I don't remember what the stat was, but it was something crazy where you're like, what is happening in Detroit?
Yeah, yeah. 378 and 4 touchdowns this week. Again, they played Seattle, so that was a kind of matchup, certainly helped him. But he was playing without DeAndre Swift, without Amon-Ra St. Brown, without DJ Chark, and he still threw for nearly 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. So they've been just really scoring points in Detroit. I think we talked about the last couple of weeks. They score like every quarter, something crazy. I don't know if they did that still, but they had a long streak of that going.
He is the number 5 quarterback in fantasy right now.
Quick question. Would you rather, if you're a Rams fan, would you rather have him than Matthew Stafford right now?
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. I think I would.
I mean, the offensive line.
The thing is, their defense sucks so bad, and their offense is really great.
So it's like every game is going to be a shootout.
Yeah, that's what you want in fantasy, right? Maybe not for the actual football and for winning, but for fantasy, that's good. And then the other one that is not on here, Geno Smith, Seattle.
Yeah, that was the same game with Detroit last week. They had an absolute shootout. Seattle actually came out on top of that one, surprisingly, 48-45. 2 just terrible defenses. Offenses that, again, we said Detroit's pretty good. Seattle's not that good, but again, when you're playing against horrible defenses, it elevates your offense. And yeah, Geno Smith was and has been decent. I mean, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but is Seattle better without Russell Wilson?
You know,
so
I
far,
was going to say that. Yeah, I mean, he 23 passes, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he ran a touchdown in too.
Okay,
49 yards.
So
on the ground.
I was kind of waiting.
Yeah, that's.
I was waiting to jump in on this, but like you said, there's rants to come, and I think mine is coming right now, and it's about Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos entirely and in general.
Before you start, can I?
Let's rock.
I do want to give you credit. You're probably going to say this yourself, but before the season, I think on our very first podcast, you said, overhyped, and I don't know what they're doing. And
yes, absolutely.
So I will give you credit for that one.
Everybody was like handing him the division. Everybody, everywhere, every news network, everything I ever listened to, everybody was just handing him the division. Everybody, and I said, it's not going to happen. They're not going to be that good. I mean, the defense is good, but they're not going to be the team that everybody thinks they're going to be. So thank you, Brandon, for acknowledging that. What I was going to say is now how you said, is Seattle better without him? So far, yes. And is Denver better than they would have been with who did they have?
I mean, Drew Lock. Drew Lock might be better.
Yeah. And it's like, what is happening? So there's so much to say here, but basically it's like, like in Seattle, they suck because they don't let him cook. Let Russ cook. He moves across town and he can't even find the kitchen. So I don't even know how do you go from it's not my fault, they're not letting me throw the ball, to I throw an interception that could it's just terrible. It's just terrible.
Everything is burnt. Everything is burnt.
He hasn't even he can't find the kitchen, and then when he gets there, he doesn't know where the lights are, and then he doesn't know how to turn the stove on. It's like all these things that are just not working in his favor, and everybody's there. Everybody, he invited everybody over for dinner, and everybody's ready to eat. Everybody's ready for this buffet that he's going to provide, and he is like, "Oh, let me call Domino's because I don't know what the hell I'm doing over here."
Let me call Gino. I get that. Do you think it's going to change over time because it's a new playbook, new.
So here's the thing. Yeah, I think that's what people were saying after the first couple of weeks. But it's been 5 weeks at this point. We've seen 5 Denver Broncos games, and I've seen 0 improvement. So again, I think Russell Wilson's a big part of the problem. I think the head coach Nathaniel Hackett's also equally as bad, and he's also a big part of the problem. I wouldn't be surprised if this is his only season coaching the Broncos. They got new ownership now, so they didn't technically hire him. They weren't a part of that, so I could see them, especially the season continues the way it's been going, getting rid of him after 1 year, bringing someone else in to kind of take over the reins. But yeah, I am just so unimpressed with them. And again, 5 games is a pretty good sample size. That's almost a third of the season. So, I mean, if I had to guess, yeah, it gets better because I don't know that it can get much worse.
It can't get worse. And like we were talking about earlier when we were watching the game, it's like they're 2-2. It's like they have gotten lucky Like, and who they beat? They beat
the Texans, and then they beat the 49ers in the ugly Sunday night, like 12-10. Kind
and
of
that
like
was
this game.
Was that the first game that Jimmy was back, or was he?
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, I think it was the first Jimmy G game.
Was that his like when he started, or was he like? Was it? No, it was. He started, right?
Yeah, he started.
So it was
the
like,
Sunday night game.
Okay, but that's they really should not have beat the 49ers.
No, I don't know what happened.
Oh, they beat him 11-10. Sorry, I gave him one extra point on there. 11.
And that's the thing is like all the games have been like this, where it's like ugly scores with like.
So let me rattle off their 5 games. Week 1 at Seattle, they lose 17-16. Week 2, they beat the Texans 16-9. Week 3, they beat the 49ers 11-10.
11.
Again, we haven't gone over 17 points for either team so far. And then I'm going to actually skip the Raider game. So then the Colts tonight, they obviously lose 12-9. The Raider game 32-33. That was the only game where they actually points scored. Other than that, both teams under 17 points. It's just ugly, ugly football in Denver.
How many touchdowns do you think Russell Wilson has scored?
Wait, like
3.
thrown or just
he ran one in. He threw. No, he's probably thrown. I think he threw 2 and ran one against the Raiders. But other than that, he's only thrown like 1 other touchdown. So I'm gonna say 4 total.
5 total. 1 rush and 4.
Yeah, in 5 games. So he's averaging 1
games,
touchdown a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's not running like he used to either. So
yeah, so I guess again
doesn't really
to circle back around. We're a fantasy football podcast. I'm safe to say I think he's droppable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how you can start him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, get someone else. Get Carson Wentz. I mean, he's horrible too, but I mean, there's a lot of people to pick up. Yeah. Let's go through these quick because obviously this comes out on Friday. So if you guys just check, if you need someone this week,
just talk for a
check
long
some
time
of these
about
people.
Russell Wilson and the Broncos. Way to go, us.
Jared Goff, Geno Smith, pick them up when you drop Russell Wilson.
Exactly. Of course, Tyler Algier and Caleb Huntley, Atlanta. What do you think moving forward?
Those are the fill-ins for Cordero Patterson. As you mentioned earlier, he's out for at least 4 weeks. Algier looked like the guy last week. He's a rookie from BYU. He's gotten some pretty good pub. I think he's the guy I'd rather have moving forward. But again, I think it's Patterson's job probably when he comes back. So these are just a few, 4-week fillers. Yeah, exactly.
Especially bye weeks starting up soon.
Week 6, next week we start buys.
Yeah, Alexander Mattinson, he's probably taken, but maybe give him a look. Mike Boone in Denver, Latavius Murray, they also snatched up as well. So maybe get a look there in some deeper leagues. Raheem Mostert, Miami. Brian Robinson, Washington.
Yeah, can I stop you there real quick? I think Brian Robinson is a name to really monitor. He was the guy, I think you probably heard, preseason he got shot right before the season started. He was out at least the first 4 weeks.
In the buttocks.
Yeah, so he was slated to be the starter over Antonio Gibson coming into the season. Again, I don't know what a gunshot wound does to you. I'm happy to say I've never had to deal with that, but I don't know how that affects you coming back and playing football. But again, they've activated him. He started practicing, so they have to add him to the active roster within 21 days. So he is going to be playing games within the next 2 weeks. And so I'm very curious to see what happens if he goes back to his role that we saw before the season, or if he's kind of stuck in a timeshare with Gibson. I don't know that the coaching staff loves Antonio Gibson, so I think there's definitely some upside to Brian Robinson. He could be a guy that has a big impact in that backfield.
Mark Ingram, you don't have to worry about Latavius Murray anymore, so maybe give him a look. And we talked about Latavius Murray, of course. There's some wide receivers. Here we go. Wan'Dale Robinson. What do you think about him? Giants.
Yeah, so the Giants have no receivers. They're all hurt. And Kenny Golladay got hurt. Sterling Shepard obviously got hurt a couple weeks ago.
And he's out for the season, right?
Yeah. Sterling Shepard is. Kadarius Toney never plays.
He might as well be out for the season.
Yeah, he's always got something hurt. So it's like they need a guy, and they drafted Robinson in the 2nd round this year. So at some point, he might be their number 1 option. Again, not a great passing offense with Daniel Jones, but he's going to be a guy who's going to be on the field just because they don't have anybody else.
Josh Reynolds, Detroit.
He so what we were saying earlier, what Brandon was saying is that all the Detroit receivers were out, and so he got a lot of play. Yeah. So I don't know that he's going to continue to get as much attention when all those guys come back.
I think when Amon-Ra is back, he's going to be obviously the number 2, but I think he's still worth a look, especially in deeper formats.
Though. You got.
I think he is. He's the number 3 normally. Obviously, yeah, Amon-Ra was out. Chark was out. They
Yeah.
have Hawkinson.
Oh, Chark. Yeah.
But Detroit's on a bye next week. So I think they're keeping Swift out. They're going to keep Amon-Ra out this week just to give them that extra, they get the extra week next week with the bye. So Reynolds is a good play this week if you have him. If you need a wide receiver for this week, I think he's good for one more week. But coming back, I think they're at full health, and then he falls further down the depth chart.
Do you know who Detroit is
but
playing this
with
week?
that offense,
New England.
real quick, with 48 points, I mean, it's someone to look at. I'm in a league that has, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 2 flex positions. So, and there's, 12 people in the league. So, if you're looking for someone like that, yes, Josh Reynolds is a play in a league like that.
Possibly. I just think they have so many guys, right? We talked about DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams are both top 7 running backs when they were playing. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown. We had a big day from TJ Hawkinson. We have DJ Chark. There's just so many guys. At some point, they're going to stop scoring all these points. But, yeah, I think he's definitely a play this week. And then if someone was to go down, certainly a play moving forward.
Romeo Doubs, Green Bay.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked about Green Bay a lot and just who's going to step up for Devontae Adams. He looked great last week. The last 2 weeks, I think he's led them in targets. Kind of what we thought Alan Lazard would do, but
because can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I don't want you to lose track, but I want to pat myself on the back again because when we did talking before the season, and people were saying oh yeah, Lazard because he's the only guy, so you might as well pick him up, and I was like, yeah, but he's terrible and he's not going to do anything, and he has brick hands and all that stuff. Well, look at where we are now. So it's I hope you didn't spend a draft pick on Adam Lazard because.
Or Alan Lazard either.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Alan Lazard.
I think Romeo Doubs is coming into his own. Yeah, he's the rookie.
Well, it's after you catch something, then you're oh, Aaron Rodgers is okay, I'll throw it to you again because you caught it.
And that's what it is. It's learning the playbook, playing in practice over and over and over again and getting those reps. And I think as the season goes on, he's going to be more and more valuable.
Yeah, and he had a good week this week. He obviously scored the touchdown, but he also dropped a 42-yard touchdown also that would have won them in I think in overtime or just in the fourth quarter. So had the potential to have an even bigger day even after having one touchdown and 50 yards last week. Could have been over 100 with a couple touchdowns.
Robert Woods, Tennessee, had a good game.
Yeah, he's fine. Again, he's kind of a guy that kind of know what the floor is with him. He's going to catch a lot of balls, probably not a ton of yardage. Again, Tennessee's got to throw to somebody. We talked about Burks being injured before, so Woods is kind of the number 1 receiver there. So if you kind of just need 8 to 10 points, he's probably your guy.
George Pickens, Pittsburgh.
We have yet to see. He played, but it was kind of come in the middle of the game, and it was kind of a disaster kind of thing. And he threw 3 interceptions or whatever. I don't know. It was just I feel like he was put in a situation that he wasn't ready for completely.
You're thinking of the quarterback, Kenny Pickett.
This is George Pickens, wide receiver.
But they go hand in hand.
Yeah, they do.
So he did come in. He threw 3 interceptions.
They're 2 similar last names.
He did run in. He did rush for 2 touchdowns. He gave a little bit of life to that Pittsburgh offense. So Trubisky hadn't been getting it done this year. But the way that plays, so now he's the starter moving forward, Kenny Pickett, and his favorite target is George Pickens. So Pickens was over 100 yards last week, most of it with when Pickens came into the game, or when Pickett came into the game. This is going to be confusing for years to come, both these guys.
Pickett for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so I actually like Pickens as a guy moving forward. They have Deontay Johnson. They have Claypool, but Claypool hasn't really done much since his rookie season. So I think Pickens slides into that number 2 role. And again, he has the rapport with Kenny Pickett. So I think you could see some big weeks come from Pickens moving forward.
But beware, because I think the next 2 or 3 weeks they have good defenses that they're playing against, right?
It's brutal, yeah.
It's not good.
They play Buffalo this week, which that's not good.
Yeah.
Then they play Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Then they play Miami. Then they play the Eagles. And then it's Saints and Bengals.
It's going to be a rough road. And
rookie quarterback, that's a tough stretch.
Yeah. That's so you're getting thrown into basically the deep end of the pool. Just, hey, welcome to the NFL. Let's see what happens.
Michael Gallup, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, he came back last week, scored a touchdown as well. And again, I think Dallas is getting Dak back next week. And so, good passing offense. You have CeeDee Lamb. I think Gallup can make a name for himself. So definitely a guy to consider as we move forward with bye weeks.
Tight end, you got Mo Alley Cox, scored two touchdowns. What do you think moving forward? He's a flyer, I think.
He's like a Hail Mary, I think.
Yeah, tonight, 1 catch for 7 yards.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was just saying, we just watched.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for it. I knew somebody
never saw him. Never saw him.
I saw him once. I think I saw the 1 catch.
Yeah.
I was just oh, there he is.
Yeah. I just saw
Touchdown
kickers and
dependent,
defenses.
and Indy's passing offense hasn't been good.
Defense, Jacksonville, maybe someone to look at to pick up this week.
I would say no, but if you're desperate, sure.
Yeah, probably not this. Oh, no, this week, yeah. They're playing the Texans. That's why we got them on here.
Oh,
so
that's
definitely
why. Okay.
a potential
Okay, that
option.
makes sense.
And they've been good.
Yeah, they've been good. All right, let's talk about some of our fantasy tops. The best in the business. Quarterback Jared Goff, 26 for 39, 374 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 sack, 41 fantasy points. We talked about him.
We talked about it earlier. He's better
great.
than Matt Stafford right now, so yeah.
Geno Smith, 23 for 30, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. We also talked about him. He also had 7 rushes, 49 yards, and a touchdown. He gets it done through the air and on the ground.
Don't write him off.
Quarterback 8 this year so far.
Tom Brady finally had a great game, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns. So, he gave you he said, I'm going to get a divorce. And then he's like, let me have a good game. So,
yeah, he's back. And again, I think that has to do with getting his weapons back, right? Evans had the 1-game suspension. He came back. Chris Godwin was hurt. He came back. Julio played last week. So when he has his weapons, I think he's going to be really successful moving forward.
And then we just watched the game tonight. But Russell Wilson last week, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked like, okay, maybe they're going in the right direction. And then
It was probably because it was against the Raiders.
They played the Raiders.
Yeah, they played the Raiders.
There you go.
And it's like, oh, they're going to make everybody look good all season, apparently.
Makes sense. Wide receivers, Mike Evans, we just talked about 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's back. Justin Jefferson doing his thing, 147 yards and a rushing touchdown. T. Higgins was the one this week, 124 yards and 1 touchdown. You're still going to put Chase in if you got him. Deebo Samuel, 115 yards and 1 touchdown. And guess what? That was all through receiving.
Yeah, he was great. He was elusive. He had that one. I don't know if you guys saw that touchdown that he had. He broke 100 tackles.
It was so good.
Ran all over the field. Yeah, it was incredible.
I'm not going to say I told you
that's
so.
what he does.
But when Jimmy was back, I was like, he's going to be better again. He's going to go back to his normal Deebo state. And then look at what happened. Back to his normal Deebo. I mean, he didn't rush, but still.
Tyreek Hill, 10 for 14, 160 yards. There we go. Coming back on no touchdowns, but still, you got 17 points out of him.
Did you hear that interview he was doing when they asked him about his quarterback? He's like, "Oh, you're going to be playing with a different quarterback."
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, he's like, with Teddy, how you feel about your production or whatever? And he's like, his answer was like, I can produce with you at quarterback. He told the guy that was interviewing him, like, dude, I don't care. I'm going to do my thing. I was like, you know what? I believe him.
And then Jamal Agnew. Who knows what team he's plays for?
I was going to say, I was going to ask you guys the same question.
4 for 6, 50 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. Jacksonville, they're a sneaky play, but they're
got to get him on the right week. That's all.
Inconsistent. Running backs, Josh Jacobs, finally 28 for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Raiders got it done. They won a game, finally. Rashad Penny, 17 for 151 and 2 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, let's talk about this guy. You drafted him, maybe number 1, I don't know, 2, 3, and you're like, what the hell is going on with Austin Eckler? Well, this week he gave you 60 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 49 yards rushing, through the air and 1 touchdown. So 3 TDs.
Yeah,
Now,
I think if you're an Eckler owner, you're finally breathing a sigh of relief.
But are you still worried?
A little bit. Again, that was against Houston. I think he's somewhere in between. So the first 3 weeks he's had 6 points, 8 points, 4 points. Obviously he's had 28 this week. I think he's somewhere in the middle there. I'm concerned about his rushing. That was the first rushing. That was the first any touchdown he had. But his stat lines. Here's his rushing stat line. 14 carries for 36 yards week 1, 14 carries for 39 yards week 2, 4 carries for 5 yards week 3. And then even in this game, 13 carries for 60 yards, which isn't great. He had the 2 touchdowns that certainly helped him. But his value comes in the receiving game. And this was the first game he was finally able to do a lot through the air. Again, it helped with a healthy Herbert. It helped, playing Houston. So we'll see moving forward. But I think you're much happier now, obviously, than you were after week 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, like you said, you're breathing. Miles Sanders, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, Philly's doing their thing.
Yeah, they run the hell out of the ball. And this was actually a stat I wanted to bring up with Eckler, but this is in general. So saw this stat. So Saquon Barkley is the number 1 running back in fantasy right now. He has 86 fantasy points. That's the lowest for an overall running back one through the first 4 weeks of a season since 1997. So it's been like 25 years. So the running backs are dead, basically, is what we're saying. Yeah, there's just not a lot of good running backs, and that really shows it.
And the committee is real, man. The committee is real. It's all about wide receivers. Somebody made a song one time, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide.
Inspired by a really good fantasy football, manager that
wins a lot.
That was way ahead of his time.
Jamal Williams, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tight ends. TJ Hawkinson blew up 179 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I think this is becoming a Detroit Lions podcast. That seems to be all we're talking about, but their offense is so good right now.
Mo Alley Cox, we talked about him. He had 2 touchdowns. Travis Kelce doing his thing. And Gerald Everett is a great pickup for tight end if you need someone. And if he's available, he's probably not. Greg Joseph was the kicker of the week. He got you 18 fantasy points.
It's like the Janikowski days. That's what this reminds me of. It's like the Raiders couldn't score a touchdown to save their lives. So it was like, Janikowski can kick a 60-yarder. So it's like 7 field goals in a game.
Exactly. Defense, San Francisco had 21 points. Philly had 16 points. And those were your 2 big ones for the week. Let's move into... You ready for it?
Yeah.
You blew it!
You blew it! Fantasy Faceplants. These guys suck.
It's like you always catch yourself off guard. Like, all right, I'm going to move into this next section. Oh, crap, it's me. Yeah, that's you.
Trevor Lawrence.
At least you were ready for that one.
He had a great game last week. Not so much this week. -1 point. 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 1 interception, 2 sacks, and 4 fumbles lost.
Yeah, that was great news for my defense. I had Philly, so that certainly helped. But, yeah, you got to take care of the ball. And they were still in the game. That's the thing. They lost by 8 points, and they turned the ball over, 5 times just from their quarterback?
Is that Philly or is that him?
I think it's a combo of both.
Okay, I'll take that. Wide receiver, Chris Godwin, 3 catches, 30 yards.
So I got a bone to pick with this one. So you're putting on here as a face plant, 3 for 30. That's fine. Not a great week, but he's coming back off an injury. He played the second most snaps in the NFL this week at wide receiver, not just his own team in the NFL. So I saw it as a sign of encouragement. I'm happy to see what he does moving forward, and I think he's going to have a big day this week on Sunday.
But that's why we're here. We're here to tell the people, don't worry. It's Chris Godwin. He's going to be okay. Jalen Waddle, is he going to be okay? 2 for 29 yards and 3 points.
Yeah, he and Tyreek Hill, same players. They just spike weeks, low weeks.
Boom or bust, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Running back Melvin Gordon, we just saw him play again, and he got, I don't know his stats.
We talked about how he should be the man, but how he could not. I mean, he leads the league in fumbles with a lot.
And he had a fumble last week, and the Raiders returned it for a touchdown.
5 fumbles in the year, right?
Something he had -2 points in fantasy last week.
And so we were saying, week. Okay, well, with Williams out for the year and really nobody else, it's like it should be his backfield on his own. But then you have Boone, who's like a special teams guy who they use when they need to in the running back. So you're like, okay, well, they might move him or whatever. But then they go and they sign Latavius Murray, who could be let's use this guy at the goal line or some crazy thing. You never know. Because Latavius has always been that kind of guy, though, to just come in and just ruin your day.
But here's the thing. I mean, he had 15 carries for 54 yards today. This will come out on Friday, but we're recording this on Thursday. And he had 3 receptions for 49 yards. So, I mean, he had
he was like
100 yards.
And he didn't lose the ball. So it was like, I think that was like the test. Like, I think if he had not done well today, he would have lost his job. And luckily, I think he will still
gets to survive for one more week.
Yeah.
Trivia time. Who are the 2 oldest running backs in the NFL?
Oh, this is tough. Oh, I got to think about this one. I mean, it could very well be Melvin Gordon. Who the okay.
30,
Starters or backups? Could be either.
Just combo. Just the 2 oldest guys that are on rosters.
Thinking
I'm going to say Leonard Fournette and Melvin Gordon.
No.
I'm sorry, not Leonard Fournette. He's not that old. Melvin Gordon and
It's not Melvin Gordon.
Damn it. I have no idea.
So just because we were talking about it, Latavius Murray, 32 years old.
That makes
He's
sense,
one.
yeah.
And the other one is Mark Ingram.
I was like, there's somebody
yeah.
that I couldn't
Both
think
32
of it,
and both were playing for the Saints last week.
Yeah.
And effectively.
I was gonna say Damian Williams. I don't know how old he is, but he's
also crazy, like 32 and out of the league. And here's Tom Brady, 45, still playing, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, Tom
They
Brady
take all
doesn't
the
have to.
hits,
Yeah. All right. Who do we got here? Tight end, Mark Andrews. Oh, no, we skipped James Robinson. He was 8 for 29 yards, 2 points. You worried?
No, I think he's still the guy there.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, 2 catches, 15 yards.
You can't worry about him.
No
Again,
worries.
you're gonna play him every
Yep,
time.
absolutely.
All right, we got a game to play here, guys. This is called Smash. I can't even talk. Smash, Trat.
Oh,
Still
my
can't- still-
God.
You can't talk. You can't read. What can you do? Can't push buttons at the right time.
Take 3. Smash, stash, or trash. Okay? So I'm gonna give you 3 names. You have to smash one, which means they're gonna smash it. They're gonna be a start.
Okay, I don't have to smash them. Right? I just want to get the rules right. Did you guys make this up last week when I was in
It's
here?
a pants-on smash.
Okay.
They're in your starting lineup. They're gonna smash it that week. Stash them. They're gonna be on your bench, or you're gonna stash them for later. Or trash them. They're gone. You're gonna drop them. You're gonna get rid of them. Okay?
What if you want to do 2 of those to the
So
same
the
guy?
hardest part of this game is the name. Just saying the name.
apparently.
I think I got the
It
rest
definitely
of it.
is. Definitely haven't had a beer today at all. All right, Jared Goff, Geno Smith, and Derek Carr.
Oh, man, why you got to do this to me?
So can I ask a question? Is this for like this week or for the season?
It's for the season,
rest of the
like
season.
as you see them,
Okay.
as of now in the season.
Goff, Carr, and Geno
That's
Smith?
exactly what. Oh, wait, is that your
No,
answer?
I'm asking.
Oh, that's my
clarifying the
answer.
names. So you're
Smash?
smashing
I'm-
Goff?
Yeah, like hard right now because he's on fire.
He is.
He's super hot, so I got to smash him, And then stash Carr because I believe that he is gonna, his team's gonna come together, and I still have hope. I haven't lost all hope. I think it might be too late for the team, for the year, but I do think that they're gonna get it together and have a stronger ending than how they started. And Geno Smith, even though he's doing really good right now, I don't think he can keep it going through for the whole year. Like I just don't see it happening. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong, but I just don't see it happening.
So I think, I would trash Smith also. Just again, not that he's a terrible player, he's playing bad, but just he's the least of the 3 quarterbacks that we were given. Smash, gosh. Yeah, I think it has to be Goff. Again, I think his schedule's a little harder moving forward. I think I do like the prospects of Carr, but I think we had it in the right order. So we're smashing Goff, we're stashing Carr, we're trashing Smith.
All right. Gerald Everett, Dallas Goedert, T.J. Hawkinson. Not for the week. I know T.J. went off, but this is as you see them for the remainder of the season or in the near future.
Okay, so I'll take this one first. I'm going to smash Goddard. I think he's been consistent. Hurts has been throwing the ball well. I'm going to stash Hawkinson. I like what that offense has been doing. I think they keep it up. And then I'm trashing Everett only because of the fact that he's been getting a lot of targets. Keenan Allen's been out. So I think when he comes back, his target share goes down. And again, I think he's just the least of the 3, but I'd be happy to have all of these guys on my roster.
Oh man, I mean, they're all kind of, there, so it's really hard to just be like, whoa, this guy is so much better than this other guy. But I guess I will smash for the season. No, I'm gonna smash Goddard. I'm gonna stash Hawkinson and trash Everett. Yeah.
So we're in agreement here.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen
That's
often. Okay.
You heard it here.
No, it's like you're right. I know, and I'm thinking of like just the offenses in general.
Yeah.
So like that's
So you want the guys on good offense as a good quarterback play.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. This is for you listeners out there. This is who we think you should smash, stash, or trash. I got it right. Look at that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marquise Brown, and A.J. Brown, all the Browns.
Oh, what can Brown do for you? I am going.
I'm gonna smash Brown. I'm gonna stash Brown, and I'm gonna trash Brown.
I'm gonna smash Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, of course. Me too.
I'm stashing A.J. Brown, and I'm trashing Marquise Brown. Again, Marquise Brown, only trashing him. They're going to get back DeAndre Hopkins. I don't trust Kyler Murray. I think he's the least likely of those guys. Amon-Ra's just been, we've seen it every single, again, he's hurt right now, but the last 6 weeks of last season, the first 2 weeks of this season, we've just seen it. Again, A.J. Brown, great player also. I just trust Amon-Ra a little bit more than A.J.
He's a beast, yeah. He's a beast right now.
Yeah, I agree with that also, to make it short.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders, Aaron Jones.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This one's easy for me, so I'm going to defer to you on this one.
Okay.
See if we agree.
All right. I think that right now I'm going to have to smash Sanders, stash Aaron Jones, and trash the other guy. Who was it?
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm trashing him also.
Yeah, there's
his
no way
numbers
he's going to.
aren't real.
They're
Yeah.
not. We've seen it before,
And
it's I can't. No, there's no way he's going to continue.
and guess what order they are right now in fantasy points. Clyde
No,
Edwards-Helaire.
yeah, he's first, but that's not sustainable.
It's not.
So
Okay.
I would actually have it opposite though. I would smash Aaron Jones, stash Miles Sanders. I trust Aaron Jones more. The offense is I trust Aaron Rodgers more. That he's going to be so involved. Miles Sanders, I'm not completely sold on him quite yet, so I'm stashing him for now.
All right, one more running back one here. Jeff Wilson Jr., Breece Hall, or James Conner.
I'm gonna smash Breece Hall. I think he's on the up and up. He's taking over that job. He's getting more work every year or every week. I'm gonna stash James Conner. I still think he gets a lot of goal line work. And then I'm going to trash Jeff Wilson Jr.
Because Debo's there, huh?
Now
Debo's there. Legend Mitchell's going to come back at some point. They got a rookie that's hurt that's coming back. Yeah, I think he's the least of the three.
So we finally disagree. I'm going to smash Wilson.
Oh.
I feel like every time, first of all, everybody's always hurt there. And I feel like he's always the one who gets the big chunk for the last couple of years because he's always the one that survives, you know? And even he gets hurt for a week or two and then he's back and he's always still kind of the main guy back there, I think. And so I don't see it changing again. It's going back to the whole Jimmy thing. Oh, it's back to the old, back to the usual thing. And so I think he's just going to keep going the rest of the year. Not that he's going to be amazing, but he's just going to be the main guy, I think. And then I will stash Hall and I'm going to trash Connor. I don't think he's really going anywhere anymore. He had a great year last year, but it was a one and done type thing. Yeah.
All right, let's do two more here. So Drake London, Garrett Wilson, and Jahan Dotson, the rookies.
I'm going to smash Drake London. I'm going to stash Jahan Dotson. I'm going to trash Garrett Wilson. I like what I've seen from London so far. He's been pretty consistent all 4 weeks. Wilson, trashing him just because, again, Zach Wilson coming back. I'm not sure what that rapport is quite yet. And Jahan Dotson, we've seen him. He scored every week that he's played. So, again, he's missing this week because of an injury, but we've seen him produce so far.
Okay, our trash is the same again, but I'm actually going to smash Dotson. So just opposite in those two.
All right. And then lastly, let's go to the old boys right here. We just saw him play tonight, though, so this was made before tonight's performance. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Russell Wilson, the OGs.
Well, this is an easy trash.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson is just complete garbage. I'm smashing Tom Brady again. I think we saw him back this past week, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Rodgers again. They're winning games and they're playing football, but they're running the ball a lot. I just don't think his numbers are going to be as good as Brady's.
Yeah, smash.
And there you have it. Smash, stash, or trash.
He's going to be single soon too, so perfect.
He's going to be super smashing.
All right, let's get into the Week 3 matchups. Let's go over our numbers. So the score, wins and losses for us. Before last week, I was 4-7. Eliseo was 4-7, and Brandon was 5-6, coming back from the 0-3.
That's right.
Man, I can't believe that happened.
Oh wait, it gets worse. Just wait till we get to the next segment.
Last week's picks. Okay, so we had. Let me see. I got it on here. We had. What games did we have? We had Miami,
Cincinnati on the
Cincinnati.
Thursday night. Yep.
Cincinnati by 4, and Cincinnati won 27-15. We had Baltimore and Buffalo. Buffalo by 3.5. Buffalo won by 3. They didn't cover. Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Kansas City by 2, and Kansas City won 41-31. And then we had the Rams and the Niners. 49ers by 2.5, and they won by a lot, 24-9. So I had Miami, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, San Francisco. Brandon, you had Cincinnati,
That's
Baltimore,
A win. That's a win.
Kansas City,
That's a win.
the Rams,
Don't worry about that one.
Eliseo, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City, and the Rams. So for all of you keeping score, which is nobody out there, Eliseo is now 6-9. I'm 6-9, and Brandon is 8-7.
Yeah, 2-game lead after starting 0-3. Let's go.
I'm gonna get you back this week.
Let's
don't
go.
worry.
So let's go. Let's talk about some of these games right here. So I'm gonna go straight into the 4 that we're going to pick. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo by 14.5 points. Ooh, that's a spread.
Buffalo all day.
All right, that was
Wow,
easy.
No hesitation.
That
No,
was
that's
quick.
not even. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
They're gonna put up tons of points.
14.5 is a lot. Anytime I see a number like that, I always take the underdog because we've seen crazy things happen. But
We have, but
I'm also taking
Yeah.
Buffalo again. They're going to
Rookie
score.
quarterback.
So that's the thing. I think Buffalo scores. Pittsburgh banged up on defense, but Buffalo scores. Let's just say 30. I think they score 30 at least. I don't think that Pittsburgh scores 14.
no,
So,
yeah, they
yeah,
might score 14.
maybe, but I think
Might,
Buffalo
but-
gets like a defensive touchdown. They get like a pick 6, and their offense will be good. So I'm going to take Buffalo, and it hurts me to take minus 14.5, but I'm still going to take Buffalo.
Yeah,
As much as I think you guys might be right,
go
that's
against
a
us. Go
huge
against us again.
spread. So you know what? Pickens to pick it all day. Let's go with Pittsburgh.
I love that you went the
Yeah.
opposite.
I'm not afraid to put it on the line, guys. Boom or bust, right? All right, Detroit Lions versus the New England Patriots. New England by 2.5 points.
I'm upset at Detroit because I play this pool, aside from you guys, for money. And
I
was
played
like,
it too. I won this week.
and I was like, oh, you know what, Detroit? Like, yeah, they're gonna do it this week, and they did not. They did not. So,
They did not. That was the highest scoring game so far this year.
so you guys pick first. I don't.
I'm gonna take Detroit. I was actually surprised New England was favored. I guess maybe Mac Jones is playing this week, but again, they might have Bailey Zappi, their third string quarterback. Detroit scores a ton of points. I don't know that New England can keep up.
Wasn't it Zach?
So I'm kind of getting a free 2.5 points here, I think. So I'm gonna take the Lions.
I mean, this may be the best defense. I don't know. Has Detroit played an actual good defense yet?
They played Philly and they scored
Oh,
like
they did.
35.
yeah,
on
they
them.
still scored a lot. And
Yeah, I'm also going to take Detroit on this. I think that they can easily. They don't have to cover. They're just going to win. So there you
the
go.
only reason why I'm kind of like, oh man, it doesn't matter about the quarterback is because you can run on Detroit all day, and between Harris and Stevenson.
Spoiler alert. More on that later.
Oh,
Ooh.
I missed something.
No,
Well,
we got
balls to the wall.
Oh, gotcha. That's I was like, wait, what happened in the real world? Oh no, you're just talking about this. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only thing that I was thinking. I was like, even if with whatever quarterback, if they could just run it because Detroit can't stop the run, they can run it. They can run 300 yards between those two guys and score 4 touchdowns. So it's like, oh, I don't know. So, God, it hurts me, but I'm actually glad to go against you guys. I'm gonna take New England.
All right. This is going to be a good week
it's
here.
more
Also,
fun when
also
y'all have the
Detroit.
same-
Also, Detroit screwed me last week. So
I love it. You're still upset.
Atlanta Falcons versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay by 7.5 points. Atlanta.
I'm gonna take my man Tinder
Yeah.
Tom.
Tinder Tom.
Nice.
I
like
yeah, I
it.
need
Is
to
that
copyright
the
that one.
TB12?
Yeah. Tinder Boy 12. Tommy, Tampa. Tinder Tommy. Let's go.
Tinder Boy 12. I think that's the winner right
Yeah,
there.
that's a good. We still gotta start that hashtag. You heard it right here first, folks.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tinder Boy also.
Yeah, how could you not after that explanation?
I'm gonna say they're gonna win by 7 points, not 7.5, and I'm gonna go with Atlanta. They're going to somehow cover that point spread. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Arizona Cardinals. Philly by 4.5 points.
Everything in my being tells me I'm supposed to take Philly, right? They've been so good all year. Arizona hasn't been good. This game's in Arizona, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. The obvious pick is Philly, but it's like too obvious. So for whatever reason, I'm going to take Arizona to cover the 4.5 at home.
This is where I catch up by a game. So I'm going to go with Philly because they are on fire. And spoiler alert for later. So I'm going to go with Philly.
All right. It is at Arizona, and I do believe Jalen Hurts can get it done, so I'm going to go with Philly as well. Real quick, Miami Dolphins versus New York Jets. I just want to talk about that. Do you think Tyreek or Jalen Waddle is going to have a huge game against the Jets this week?
I don't know. I don't know if I can trust Teddy Bridgewater.
I think you can.
Potentially, yeah. I think that might be like a sneaky good game. I actually think the Jets are kind of fun to watch. A lot of playmakers. Miami always has playmakers. So I think that game could be kind of sneaky, fun, high scoring.
Unless Bridgewater goes in there and just completely like messes the bed, you know what I'm saying? Then I think Miami will still be firing pretty good.
Any other games you guys want to talk about?
Thank God we didn't talk about Indy Denver because that was atrocious. The other game I think that kind of intrigues me is why am I not seeing it on here? It's on the next page.
Possibly.
Oh yeah, Raiders Chiefs. You guys didn't want to talk about that one?
Well, you know,
Jesse always puts it on. I don't know
we've
why.
been covering the Raiders every week, and I just feel like the people out there are
Aren't
sick
Raider
and tired
fans.
of the Raiders.
Well, also it's because it's like the games are like, I mean, not that they're interesting games, I guess, but like to start it was at the beginning. It was like, Raiders Chargers. Okay, that was a good game, and then every week it seems like, the Raiders are going to bounce back. They're going to get it together. And then they just keep not, and it's time to move on.
I will say this. I don't know what the over. I don't have that on here. I don't know what the over and under is on the Raiders Chiefs game, but I do believe
51.
Oh, that's a big one. I'm gonna take the over.
Yeah,
I think it's
gonna
be
over.
a barn burner, man.
Even if it's one-sided, it's gonna be over.
Yeah, it's gonna be score city, because those two teams. I mean, when you're in your league, you always know how to play each other, and I feel like the Chiefs and the Raiders always have a high-scoring game.
51, the highest over/under of the week. The other one I want to talk about quickly is Cincinnati-Baltimore. I love that game. That's a Sunday night game. That one's fun. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. I really like both of those teams. Both those teams need to win. Both of them 2-2. So
Yep.
I think that one's going to be
It's
really
gonna be a good
exciting.
game.
Absolutely.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Baltimore, but Cincy just isn't. They don't have it quite as much as they did last year, but yeah, both those teams need some winning to do. All right, let's move on.
I'm surprised you didn't talk about your favorite Dallas Cowboys earlier.
Hey, they're 3-1. We'll talk about them when they continue to win later on. Like I told you guys, got an easy schedule. All right, Brandon, you had DJ Moore last week. Balls to the wall, 7 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 6 catches for 50 yards.
Yeah, he's still not back. He did have 13 targets last week.
Yeah, that's not
quarterback's
not
Baker
horrible.
Mayfield.
I had Damian Pierce. I said he was going to do 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did 139 yards, only 1 touchdown, but still.
Is that the closest any of us have gotten on the balls to the wall all year?
He had a
think
huge
so.
75-yard touchdown run, which certainly helped. But as a Damian Pierce owner, I was happy to see him go balls to the wall.
Yeah.
But it's just like astonishing how bad we've been at these.
Astonishing.
Yeah, but we also take some long shots. I mean, you took Matt Ryan. Those are some long shots.
Those are,
We're
yeah,
really,
I mean,
really
that's what-
trying
yeah.
out there.
Hey, and tonight I am going to give you someone who's under 50%.
I'm going to go with Matt Ryan again, obviously.
Well, last week you went with Derek Carr. You weren't here, but we talked to your little Skeletor
Mini-me,
guy.
yeah.
Go to YouTube, the Fantasy Football Fools, and check out the podcast there. You said Derek Carr was going to do 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he did 188 yards, and 0 touchdowns.
Well, what I was
Jacobs got him
thinking, yeah, I know. I was thinking like, oh, this is the game they finally score, and they did, but it was on the ground, so that didn't help me at all. It's 3. So had he thrown, it would have been like, okay, well, at least he got the 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? They won.
Yeah, they won. That's good. All right, this week, who you guys got?
All right, I'm going to go first. So we talked about it earlier and had like the smashing and the passing and the whatever we were doing. And I mentioned Miles Sanders. He had a great week last week. He did like 130 yards or something and then another 30 receiving, and he had 2 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a similar week. I'm going to say 125 rushing, 25 through the air, and another 2 touchdowns. I think, and that's why I picked. I went with them to win also, is because I think they're on fire and they're gonna just keep rolling.
I hope Jalen Hurts gets those touchdowns instead because he's on my team.
And it's Arizona, so it's like I think you can run in Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona's
like their defense
horrible.
isn't. Yeah, so I think Miles Sanders keeps it going.
Okay. With that, I got kind of a similar mindset. So I said spoiler alert earlier. We talked about running all over Detroit. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to go with Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going to say 140 total yards and 2 touchdowns.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if like him and Harris match it and they both have over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns each.
Certainly could.
And as promised, I'm going to give you someone who's under 50% rostered in Yahoo leagues this week because, sometimes I'm giving you guys Damian Pierce, who most people have on his team. This week, this receiver is going to have 125 total yards and 2 touchdowns. And I'm going to say he's going to have 1 through the air and randomly 1 on the ground.
Jamar Chase.
No, 48% rostered.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
Isaiah McKenzie from the Buffalo Bills. Let's cross our fingers he gets through concussion protocol.
Wow, that is really balls to the wall.
Hey, he practiced today, so he should be okay. There you go. You have it here. Those are the balls to the wall. Check back next week. We'll see where we are. And remember, don't be a fool.
Why are you pausing?
I just want everyone
because you lost the button again, didn't you?
No, I really want everyone to remember to not be a fool.
Stay in school.
Tinder Tommy.
Yeah, definitely don't forget that. You got to
Tinder
remember.
Boy 12.
Tinder Boy 12.
See you next week.
Did you guys miss me last week? Like enough that you guys got a little mini me to sit in my chair because you're like, we can't do this without him.